Hello everyone. Today we're going to be painting a painting of the Madison Skyline in this black and white gray style here. You're more than welcome to do this using paint, of course, but if you would like to use crayons or colored pencils or something like that just on paper or poster, that's fine too if you don't have paints on you. Alright, and let's get started. Alright, these are the tools you're going to need if you choose to do it more of like a painting style here. I just have a small canvas here. I think it says the size on here, it does not. But it's a small canvas. They come in like a 5-pack at like Hobby Lobby or Michael's. I have some small brushes just because I'm going to do it on a smaller canvas, a pencil, a straight edge, and then since I'm going to do it with paints, I have my paints here. I'm just doing a black to white, black, white, gray thing going on here. Here's my source that I'm going to go from for my image. I just found this online by simply typing in Madison Skyline. I'll try to put this image in the link below the video if you want to go off of this image. Like I said though, you could do this by painting it like I'm going to. You could do it with color pencils on like a board or a piece of paper, all kinds of different options. We're using items that you might have available at home. Alright, and so the first step I did was I took my straight edge and I drew a line along the bottom. I did about 1/3 up from the bottom of the canvas here, and that'll be my horizontal line. And I just made a small mark here in the center of my canvas, and that's going to be where the Capitol and Monona Terrace will be. I won't get the entire image onto the canvas, so I'll just start my way from the Capitol and I'll work my way out both sides, see how far we get. Alright, so the next thing I have to do is figure out how high the Capitol building is going to be in proportion to the image. Now, I'm not going to use the entire image like I said, so I'm not working from this bottom line of the image all the way to the top. I'm actually just going to make it smaller. So I said, okay, the Capitol building, its height is going to be about 1/3 of my page length, height-wise. So there's going to be 1/3 of it's going to be the lake, 1/3 of it will be the Capitol, and 1/3 will be the sky. So here I have my canvas was already started to be broken up into thirds because this line I decided was 1/3 of the canvas, so I had that already started for me, and then I just easily found another third here. So this will be the top of the Capitol building, which will be the tallest building in Madison, or in the Skyline. And the next height thing that I'm going to draw is the Monona Terrace. So I decided that the Monona Terrace was about 1/3 of the height of the Capitol. And so I broke the height of the Capitol from the bottom to the top here, and I found that the 1/3 would be here. So this will be the top of my Monona Terrace. So now, after I have the height of the Capitol, I want to see how wide the Monona Terrace is going to sit. So, knowing that Monona Terrace was 1/3 of the Capitol here, I just took a piece of paper and I drew my scale line here. So I had the edge at the top of the terrace and I drew a line where the bottom line is, and I just turned that around and I measured it out to how many times that this would fit into the Monona Terrace. And so now when I put that onto the page, I can't just take this line and do it. I have to go from this and turn this around. So I just took that piece of paper on the different end and I lined it up so it's on the bottom, and I drew that, and that's what I used to draw in my pieces that would be the Monona Terrace. So here I have one end of the terrace, and here I have the other end of the terrace. So now that I want to draw in my capital and my Monona Terrace, I just followed those little markings that I made, and I made a rectangle for my Monona Terrace. And then after I made the rectangle for my Monona Terrace, I had to figure out how wide the capital was. So I used this point as that little dot I made originally as the top of the capital. And I said, okay, well, half is on this side and half is on that side. And I just broke it down, and I decided that it came down to about here, which was half of one of my 1/3 markings, or one of my 1/6 markings, I should say. And from there, I saw this part is still the part of the Capitol building, so I had to include that. And I said that goes about the other half of that marking. So that's how I got these lines here. I did the same thing on this side. And then after I did that, I just started to edit my Monona Terrace a little bit, because it is not just one rectangle. It's got a couple of different heights at different points. But because I had that line I just drew with this part of the building of the Capitol, I was able to use that to start this little indent, if you will, of the Monona Terrace. So now I started drawing in a few more buildings, and I continued working on the Monona Terrace. I just added some more of those little different height points in the building and erased that line that was originally there. And I'm just working with my image now as to seeing where the heights change in the building, and using my measurements and using my source from the image to copy it down onto my page. Our professor I had told us that we should look at the image twice the amount of time that you're looking at the actual page that you're working on. So that's something to keep in mind. But so now over here is where I'm starting a new line. And that's to represent this building over here. So I added on to the Monona Terrace, because after doing these different heights, I saw that I needed to add this part on, which is the parking structure. And so I said, okay, I drew that in using these measurements that I had on that sheet. And I said, okay, I can line this building up with this line. So now what I'm going to have to do next is figure out how high this building should be on my image. And so from there, I'll use some of the measurements I have, and also this Capitol building in my image. So referring back to my image often is key, and just adding from line to line, and they build off of each other. So that's what you should keep in mind. Alright, so now that I finished my Monona Terrace box here, and the what I would call the second kind of line here, which will be the part with the Capitol, and that's all black. Now I'm starting to work on this faded gray area in the back, which is buildings that would be the farthest point from us. And so that's just what I started on over here. And I just kind of like before, we're connecting lines and seeing where they measure up. Other than that, that's what we're working on. Alright, so now I've finished up my lines and my drawing here. I am going to start painting it. So we have this black and white gray look here. So the first thing I'm going to paint is the black part, which has the Capitol and the bigger buildings in it. Alright, so I just put on the first layer of black in here. And I'll probably look at putting another layer or two of black over this. But the next step would be to use some gray for the Monona Terrace layer of it. So I'm going to use a gray, probably not my darkest gray, but I'll use a gray, probably this gray here, and all you have to do is take white and black and mix it up, of course, to get different shades of grays that you want for this project. Alright, so I'm starting to finish up the project here. As you can see, I added the other layers of gray to it, and it's just simple, just like, painting in the lines that you already drew. I just wrote Madison below it, or else you could write home or something like that if you wanted to, or leave it blank. Hope you enjoyed watching this, and see you next time.